Here we are. Welcome, everyone. A lovely Tuesday. It is a lovely Tuesday. There you are. I'm coming to help you out. Oh, wait. Oh, there you go. We're just getting started. Well, it is a beautiful day. And you know what we're talking about this morning? It's not been singing it for a couple of days. All I've been singing is rock steady. That's the only two words I've been singing for the past couple of days. And I was like, we may waver in so many things. Oh, we sure can, because such is life. But the one thing we don't waver in is the law. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? We don't waver in the law, but we can waver anywhere else. But you'll find if you are rock steady, why rock steady? Remember when Jesus said to Peter, "Upon this rock I will build my church." What does that mean? It means, see that faithfulness to do what? Always walk in the light of the law. That is what keeps us steady in any situation. You could be out to sea, and just the way the tempest blows, you have the ability to say, "Peace, be still. Peace, be still." You have what it takes to do that. We don't just say it because we can speak. We say it because we know the law. We know what the law tells us. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. We know this part. And when we know that part, we remain steadfast because we're walking by faith. We're not walking with these eyes. These eyes that we've got, sometimes we wear glasses. Why are we walking with these? We walk with these because we got to drive. We got to read. They're there to see things. They're there to see the evidence of what we have done from the inside out. That's what they're there for. But they're not there to dictate what is possible and what is not possible, because we all know what is possible. All things are possible to them that believe. What must you believe? You believe in that word, in the law. What does it say? It says you have the ability to call those things that are not as though they were. When you are creating something, you don't doubt what you're doing. You remain rock steady in it because you know the law, right? We don't deviate from that. We don't deviate from it at all. It is what it is. It is your anchor, right? And here's the thing. We think sometimes when we hear the word anchor that you're just there and you can't do anything else. But the beauty of the law is this: not only are you anchored, but you're free. You're free. You can move in any direction, but you are free. You are anchored in that law. So that when you get up and you say, today what do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? How do we do it? We trust that when we say what we're going to do, that it happens. And it doesn't happen by magic. It doesn't happen willy-nilly. It doesn't happen because you beg and plead. We're not beggars. It happens because we are rock steady in the law. Period. This is what it is. What law? Mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is a mental creation. Correspondence. As above, so below, as within, so without. Vibration. Everything moves. Nothing stands still. Everything is moving. And it's moving from to polarity. They look as though they may be opposites, but they are the same in their nature. They're the same in their nature. So that's why you're constantly moving from where you are to where you want to be. And the way that you move begins to do what? It creates a rhythm, an ebb and a flow. And then we get to causation. Every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. But get this, you can reverse engineer. Well, every cause has an effect, but every effect has a cause. So if you say, I don't know what I want, you can't name it, that's all right. Can you describe the feeling? The feeling is the effect. So the effect, if you know it, will bring about the cause. And finally, we have the law of gender, generation. To project outward, because you have an idea, you have to implant it somewhere so that it grows. So then you implant it, you're masculine, you project it outward into the womb. And what does the womb do? It knits together all the pieces required, which is feminine, and it gives it back to you by way of an experience. These are the 7 principles that govern us day in and day out. And so we must remain rock steady in them. That's what it is. Remain rock steady in that law. Because that law is telling you what you are capable of doing. All things. Because you believe it. You know the law. Because we get to a point where we're full of learning. And then now we are motivated or inspired to practice. And when you spend your time in that learning phase, it is the ebb. Remember rhythm? You spent your time learning and taking in the information and the knowledge. That's your time to build your church upon that rock. That's the time. So that now when you practice, you're sure. And you'll notice that it happens naturally. You start off at one phase, and as you pay attention, you gradually move into another. You don't ever have to force it. You don't ever have to fight about it. Remain rock steady. Remain that way. That's the one thing that doesn't waver. We may come and go. You know, that's what we do. We fade, we bloom. We root, we blossom. But it is the law that keeps us rock steady, sure footed, day in and day out. Yes, you may face a disappointment. Shoot, if you're stubborn, we face more than one. But if we remain rock steady, we know something. We know that that disappointment is an opportunity for us to look at what we've done and say, whoa, wait a minute. Let me readjust. What are you going to readjust? You're thinking, and you readjust. You don't rock in the corner, but you remain rock steady to look at what you've done. You look at it and you say, ooh, I see where it is. And you realign your mind. And once you realign your mind, now it is ready, fire, and then aim. Why aim is last? Because you've got to do something so that you can see, what did you do? You got to do the thing. Do it. And if you do it and you realize, ah, snap, I should have been more bold, then be more bold. And then do it again. This is always what it comes down to. That law is beautiful in the fact that it doesn't judge. Every man gets according to his own merit. So what are you? That's what you'll get. And as we know, Neville says it, the law says it. If you know what you want, you can predict. Well, cause and effect will tell you you can predict it. Every cause has its effect. Every effect is cause. You can predict the outcome. You are a prophet. You have it in you. I have it in me. But that's the thing. It's one thing to have it in you. Begin to use it. Let's not be mental misers. Don't just sit on the knowledge. Apply it. Because you will learn much about yourself when you apply it. You'll see where your foot slips and you'll readjust. You know, if you go rock climbing and you were tethered, you've got the whatever you want to call it, but you got the clips and you're on that rope and you're good to go. Sometimes the foot slips, but you're anchored. That's the whole point today. You and I are rock steady in the law. We are. It's okay sometimes to be a little afraid. Yes, it is. But just don't entertain it. Recognize what it is. Recognize that there's a memory. And it jumps up and says, hey, this looks familiar. Remember when? That's your cue to say, oh, yeah, I remember. But it doesn't dictate now. Here's what we're doing now. And that part can be a little challenging. Sure. Because sometimes memories are strong. Oh, and they are so good. They come back and they remind us. Oh, they do. But because they remind you, they cannot dictate. You have the final say. I have the final say as to how things go. But we don't waver in that final say. We say it, sometimes with words and sometimes without words. But we say it. We trust it. Because it's never failed us before. Whether you say something like, I didn't get what I want, I got the opposite. You cannot get the opposite. You can only reap what you have sown. So you see, it doesn't matter which memory arises. It doesn't matter what memory arises to remind you of your past failures. You can boldly stand on it and say, nah, I was successful. I got exactly what I proclaimed. That's what you can tell it, because that's what you did. That's what I did. That's what we do. We always get what we are. So you didn't fail. You just have to readjust what you want. Get it more clear. And recognize that when you say it, when you move in that fashion, as we read last night, you cast your bread on the water and it will return not by magic at all, in a way that is unknown. It's just like, even if the scientists, you know how they have these cameras where they show you the slow motion of how something happens, the time lapse of how something, of what it's doing. We can always see what is happening. But what we don't know is how. There's that part we don't know. They can show you when sperm meets egg and there's that flash of light. They can see that. They can show us that now. But what we don't know, nor what we cannot know, is how does it do that? It does it by law. That's the part we know how. But how? That inner working. We don't know that inner working part. We just know that it happens. And that's where we have the faith. That's where we remain rock steady to know that, if I plant this seed, I must reap this harvest. That's what we know. So that's what we remain rock steady in. But when we start to say things like, well, I don't know if it's possible. I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, you do. You know it works by way of law. That's what we know. But that inner working, that intimate part, we don't know. We just know that it happens. And so we remain steadfast and rock steady in that it happens. And it happens always by way of law. So if we remain rock steady in what? That if I plant it, I have to reap it. In what mood did I plant it in? Remember, because we were there last night. It is the mood that determines the fortune, not the fortune that determines the mood. There's a reason for that. We also learned about it in Catch the Mood. Your mood is your state.
And you know why? You know why the mood is so important? Because my thoughts are nothing like your thoughts, says the law. Yes. And my ways are far beyond your imagination.
Yes.
So what does this mean? This means that you can't even imagine the greatness you can have. You can try to. Mm-hmm. But the truth is that it's way bigger. So you have to match just the feeling. See, know how it feels.
Yeah.
And that will create a reality further than anything the human mind could ever imagine. So just sit in the feeling and stay there.
That's it, Marquise. That's it. You catch that mood. Catch the mood. Remember, let me clear something up because I know there's probably a question floating there. Remember, we can reverse engineer cause and effect, effect and cause. Remember what he said. It is the mood that determines the fortune, not the fortune that determines the mood. The fortune, you understand, is that thing. But that fortune happens by way of your mood, your feeling. If you don't know that you want a fortune, how can you create it? The mood is what does the creating part. It looks like it's invisible, nobody sees it, but you sense it. You know that mood. You know it. So use it. Use it to bring about your change. And also, as we learned last night, these changes that we want to bring about in our lives as individuals are not just regarding things, bits and bobs. It's not just regarding things, but that is the doorway. Because a need has arisen. And you need to have that need met. Well, here's the beauty of the law. The need is met. As soon as you have the need, bam, it is met. This is how it happens. So catch that mood. Why? Because it is that mood that you say, I'm calling that thing. I see it mentally. And I'm calling it to life. What's that mood? But you see how we use the word? Oh, I'm in a bad mood. Oh, I'm in a good mood. And we think that that's all it is. A thing that's wishy-washy. Nah, it is a thing that you have control over. That's what it is. You have complete control over that mood. You can bend and mold and shape many a thing with that mood. So this is why the encouragement today is to be rock steady. Don't allow the exterior to cause you to react. Build from inside so that you respond to what you have built when you see it on the outside. Because the reaction, we tend to be blind in our reactions sometimes when we just fly off the handle, right? And go where, I want to say random, but it isn't, where some kind of a mood takes us, not knowing that we are the ones in control of the mood. So today, remain rock steady, remain steadfast in the law. But what if I'm still scared to try it? What if I fail? Valid question. But we all know that we are only successful. Where's the evidence? You can only reap what you have sown. So what did you reap? Did it kind of sort of fall short? Well then, you didn't fail. You reaped exactly what you have sown. So go back and revise it. What would you prefer to reap instead? We practice and we practice and we practice until we master. That's what we do. That's what we do. Because it's that rock steady part. We practice and practice. We hone our skill. That's what we do. And we use trinkets and bits and bobs, things that we need to sharpen ourselves so that we master the art of creation. That's what we do. And so even though it may appear by way of our eyes to say, oh, I didn't quite get it, right? Because imagine, do you know how many people give up? Because it didn't quite go the way they wanted it to go. Why did they give up? Because the seed, it fell on the rocks, so there was a little bit of soil, and it took root. But you see that sun, it came out and scorched that little plant. So a situation came along, and they were like, oh, I can't manage this. But if we remain rock steady, we see our way through any situation because we know we are creating the situation. So if it didn't quite go the way you had, quote unquote, hoped for, go back to the drawing board and revise it. How do I want this to go? Where is that thing that keeps tripping me? If you ask, you will see it. Remember, if you were here for the story, not last night, but the other night, where she had the dream and she rushed with that rice and didn't allow it to do its own thing, but she rushed it and it didn't quite cook all the way. But the other dish, she took her time. And the beans, they came out tender and beautiful. That's what we do. We don't rush. As Daddy says, you rush the brush, you waste the paint. Take your time. Oh, but I don't have time. I need it now. Well, desperation, if that's what you plant, well, we can predict what we'll reap. So remain rock steady and steadfast today in the law and know that you are calling it forward. That's what you're doing day in and day out. Day in and day out. So what are you going to do today? You go practice some more. Oh, but I'm so tired practicing. Take a moment in the ebb to gather your strength then. You think that we're strong every day? Physically, you think that, nah, there's an ebb and there's a flow. But you know when to use them. Practice your discernment. You see, and discernment really is a byproduct of using the law. Because you know when to act, when to stand still. You know these things because you learn them. Because that still small voice, greater is he that is in me than he that is in the world, it tells you. It tells you. Take a minute here. Rest here, it says. Recover here. So that's what you do. You build your strength in the ebb so that you are sustained in the flow state. But we got to remain rock steady in that, knowing that, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to hold it here for a minute, just a moment, and gather myself. Center myself. What a fancy word. Regroup. That's what we do. And in that moment, we are reminded that we are rock steady. We are anchored. We are. But not to prevent us from living a full life, but to allow us to live life and live it more abundantly. Why? Because you're not living in the dark when you live by way of law. You're not running around throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. No, you are being deliberate. Which also reminds us why we are rock steady. Because we can be deliberate. We're prophets after all. You call it and you say, that's happening right now. Remember the woman from last night's story? She would always whisper to herself, ooh, something wonderful is happening to me now. That's all she'd whisper. Something wonderful is happening to me now. And I bet you, when you say that, something wonderful is happening to me now. When you begin to say it over and over again, it'll do something to you. And however that thing feels that it is done to you, you can use it to predict. Oh, of course you can. That's why it's there. As above, so below. As above in the mind, so below in the body. So stop speaking ill. Let me say it to you again. Stop speaking ill. Did you hear it? Stop speaking ill into your life. So what are you going to speak instead? Life, aren't you? You are steadfast in that. That as a man thinketh, therefore he is. Alan Watts, that's what he said. So today, take your time. Because you're rock steady. No need to rush, honey. As Confucius says, look at nature. She takes her time, yet everything is done. She's not frantic in her actions. Why not? Because she knows she reaps. She brings forth what was planted every single time. So she's secure. So we should be also. As I say, I know, because I'm human too. Some days I wonder. But yes, I am. And we have to sit there and think about these things and reassure ourselves. But you're not reassuring the self blindly. You're not just, as they say, blowing smoke up your arse. You're not doing that. You are reminding yourself always that the law has you anchored firmly. And so when you speak to yourself, that's where you're speaking from. So you're not lying to yourself. Well, we all know that doesn't work, eh? Because you can't. But you speak the truth by way of law to yourself. And then you begin to feel it rile you up. I can do this. Yes, I can. What are you going to do? I'm going to do this. And I'm doing it now. That's what you do. That's how we do it. Let us take a moment, shall we, to welcome everyone into the space, because I want to read this, Marjorie. Oh, yes, I do. I know Jeff just popped out there. Love troll. I see you, love troll. And seldomly, I see you driving tips daily. I see you. Thank you for being here on Twitter. X marks the spot, doesn't it? I see you. Kay Chanel. I see you. Marjorie. She said she had a reaction to something last night, and she caught herself afterwards. And she asked herself, "Who am I being right now?" And she said, but that reaction put her in a mood and messed up how she arrived at work. But what did she do? She paused. And she remembered who she was. So she revised on the spot. You can listen, like that fancy car, you can turn on a dime, honey. You can turn on a dime from where you currently are to where you say you want to be. You don't have to remain in a foul mood. You don't have to remain in any low state. Pivot right away, revise. Marjorie didn't. She says with practice, we really get to know who we are and catch these things before they get out of hand. And listen, Marjorie, to add to that, you catch them so frequently, you don't even make them anymore. But hey, Shea Butter, Ruby, Joaquin, A-Not, Sugar Visions, Cyber, you're all here. And for the ones who've not made themselves known, I see you. And Facebook, Indy is here. But there's also somebody else here. I don't know your name because I can't see who's on Facebook, but I know you're there because they did a comment and they said, ooh, they're looking forward to Rocksteady. And here we are. Fan base, who's here? We got Vashon in the house. We got Winner in the house. M. Jenny in the house. Zeesty, Conrad, Marquise, Stephanie, Asia Love. Ali's in the house. Coach, Summer Rose, My Melanin, KZ Flow Smiles, Afternoon Delight is in the house. Miss McQueen and Zola. Oh Lord, it's a full house tonight. I thought the room was still going. Shoot. Anyway, remain rock steady. Remain rock steady. Because you must. What is the alternative? To be out to sea in a dinghy and being tossed to and fro.
And you know what the other alternative, I'm tripping, I love my words, I'm trying to say it so fast, is being built on sand. You want to be built on a rock foundation.
The wise man built his house on the rock. The foolish man built his house on sand. What happens with sand? Shoot, it gets washed away. But the rock? Nah. It is firm. It stands firm every time. That's you today. That's me today. Stand firm. Indeed, we have it within us. We truly do. You got to remember that. So that when you find yourself somewhere, somehow, you know, oh, I got this. I can do it. And that's what I mean when I say to you, you're not just speaking idle words, you're speaking life every time. That's what you're doing. So today, be gently reminded that you are that church built upon the rock. You are steadfast. You are sure-footed. And if you're anything like me, seriously, for the past 2 days, all I've been saying, rock steady. That's all I've been singing for 2 days. That's all. And I'm like,
Is it because you were steady? I'm rocking steady all day. Steady rocking.
I know, right, Coach? What did you say too? Because Coach was saying something.
And I think because you were steady rocking all night long, all day. Which one was it?
Well, you know, day and night, right? But this is this is how it is. I just found myself singing it, and I'm like, why? And I was like, well, this is nice. Somebody just popped off her perch. I can hear her. It's okay, girl. You all right. Just hold fast. Mama's coming. But you hear what I'm telling you today. Be rock steady because you know the law. You can rock with it, lean with it. Yes, you can. You know it. You know it. You spent all this time learning and taking it in, and now this desire comes and says, ooh, let's test it out. So test it and recognize that you've got it. That's it. Let me get the bowl out for you guys this morning because you know I love you. And you know that I do. And speaking of bowl, listen, we have the live bowl tonight at 9:45 p.m. You want to be there for that. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ah, hello. I see you, darling. It's good to have you in the space. Do I say it Zeal Organics on Twitter? It's beautiful to see you, love. And Jeff, as always, always lovely to connect with you. I will see you tonight, 9:45 p.m., where we play the bowl live. Come, darling. I'm just... Oh, go ahead, sweetie.
Yeah, thank you. It's pronounced Zile.
Zile.
Yeah.
I figured as much. Thank you for telling me.
No worries, and thank you for these lovely spaces. I haven't been in a while. It was good to catch up.
Indeed. Indeed it is. Well, there you have it, Twitter. Yes, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm hoping you come on to one of the ones I'm hosting for the 30-day meditation series. It would be so great to have you on and bringing this energy to that.
I will be there.
Thanks, sweetie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Definitely I'll be there. All right, Twitter, Zile and Jeff, I will see you guys tonight if you're available. And I'll see you on the morrow. Indeed. Much love to you, Twitter. Twitter is closed. I love making new friends. This is lovely. YouTube and Facebook, Marjorie K. Chanel, Shea Butter, Ruby. It is always lovely, darling. Joaquin, A. Not, Sugar Visions. Cyber. I will see y'all tonight. Much love to you and Facebook. I know you're there too.